Well, welcome everybody. My name is Glenn Pearson, and I am the Vice President of Field Operations here at Red Cedar Steel, and I've been here about 38 years. Started the company here in 1980. I started here, and we've been in this office ever since. We've added on a few times, but I'm happy that you're all here. I'm supposed to briefly talk about Foxconn and what it does for Red Cedar Steel. And with our offices between here and Milwaukee, Foxconn is a great opportunity for our state and for us to show our wares. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure it's a safe and a quality building down there for those folks. I'd like to acknowledge everybody that's here and thank you for coming. And I'd like to get off to the Wisconsin Department of Administration Secretary, Ellen Nowak.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be here, and what a great setting, and thanks for the Chamber of Commerce weather as well. I have that open. As you mentioned, I'm Ellen Nowak. I'm the Secretary of the Department of Administration, and I'm here today with Mark Hogan from Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to commend and congratulate Red Cedar Steel Erectors for being one of the first companies to receive a contract to work on the multi-purpose building down at the Foxconn facility in Mount Pleasant. And it's just fascinating because we checked this morning, you're about 291 miles away from the facility, but the impact, it doesn't matter how far you are, because the impact, and on this chart here, it's going to continue to grow, is all around the state of Wisconsin. So first of all, please join me in giving the company and all of you a round of applause for your work getting this. It's so good to be at Wisconsin companies, family businesses like this. This is Mark and I's our third trip to a Wisconsin company that has a long legacy like Red Cedar, to be here in Wisconsin and be awarded a contract with Foxconn. That's just the way we kind of wanted it to work. And they're so proud to do, and Mark's going to talk about this a little bit, I think, why Foxconn chose Wisconsin. And it's because of companies like this. It's because of the rich history and the family tradition and the hard workers that we have here in this state. Now, the contract that's been awarded to Red Cedar is just one of the examples of the ripple effects that we're seeing throughout the entire state of Wisconsin from this historic contract that's been awarded. And we're really early on in the project, just really a few months into this project. And already contracts have been awarded to more than 150 companies in 26 counties statewide. There are workers from at least 60 of the state's 72 counties. So again, really having a statewide impact. And we're just 1% along the way of awarding contracts. We have a long way to go. So as I mentioned, these dots, you're going to see a lot more red on that map as the years go out, and that's a fantastic thing for our state. Construction alone for this $10 billion project is expected to generate about 10,000 construction jobs, and it's going to have an indirect impact on thousands of more jobs. Once it's operational, the company is expected to spend about $1.4 billion annually in supply chain purchases sourced from Wisconsin suppliers and vendors. Again, another example of that ripple effect that we're going to continue to see for years to come. And the impact doesn't end there. There was a recent study that shows that the project will add $51 billion to Wisconsin's gross domestic product over 15 years. That's an economic impact of $18 for every $1 invested by the state. Because of the tremendous benefit this project will provide to companies around the state, if there's any other companies here, I encourage all businesses to learn more about our supply chain opportunities. You can sign up at the supply chain marketplace. There's going to or attend one of our upcoming informational sessions. We got some dates yet to be determined. They're kind of up in the near future. You can visit the website at wisconvalley.wi.gov to learn more about the ripple effect and getting involved and being a company just like Red Cedar and being involved in this really historic project here for the state of Wisconsin. So at this time, I'd like to ask Pete Hayes and any other representatives of Red Cedar to please come up and join me as I present you with a certificate of appreciation on behalf of the governor. Thank you for the work you do here. Thank you for the employees here, and thanks for being a great Wisconsin family company and being involved in this project. At this time, it is my pleasure to turn it over to a colleague of mine, Mark Hogan, CEO and Secretary of Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, who has been involved in this project from the embryonic stages and worked tirelessly, not just for this project, for economic development all around the state of Wisconsin. So it's a pleasure to introduce Mark Hogan.
Thank you, Ellen. Just a couple of introductions I'd like to make. Heather Smith, who's our Regional Economic Development Director from WEDC, and Mark Maley, who's our Communications and Public Relations person. I say it every day, I can't say it enough, it's a privilege to be able to lead that team. I'd like to offer my congratulations as well to the company, and also thank you for your commitment to Wisconsin. Larry and Carol starting this company back in 1977, as Ellen said, it really is the fabric of what our state is all about, the privately held companies. And I have had the privilege of having a ringside seat on this journey with Foxconn since when Governor Walker and I first met with Terry Go back in April of last year. And each step of the way, the company has been clear and they've been consistent about what their commitment is to this ecosystem that they want to build. And one that extends far beyond the boundaries of the $10 billion project. They're going to create 13,000 jobs down in Racine County, which by itself is by far the single largest project in the state of Wisconsin, and it is the largest foreign direct investment project in the history of the United States. So, I mean, we could talk about a lot of really good things that are taking place, but when you think about that in the context of the United States, it's very significant. So I'll just provide a brief update. The site preparation began on April 26th. Which was just a couple of days before what would have been the 1 year anniversary of when Governor Walker and I met with Terry Go for the first time in Washington, D.C. And then President Trump was here at the end of June, and we did a formal groundbreaking. And then the work started a couple of months ago on the 120,000 square foot building, the multi-purpose building that Red Cedar is working on, and I think you're there today, Pete, right? You're on that site today. So there already is a tremendous amount of work going on at the site, but the transformational nature of Foxconn in Wisconsin and their presence here can best be seen by the investments that they're making away from that project site. For example, and we saw the first signs of this earlier this year where they announced a Smart City, Smart Future initiative with the state's public and private colleges and universities, along with our technical colleges, where they'll be investing $1 million talking about smart cities in the state. The other thing that we saw, they purchased a headquarters building for their North American corporate headquarters in Milwaukee. Then they went up to Green Bay and they purchased a landmark building up in Green Bay where they will be housing, once they close it, they'll be putting up to 200 high-tech jobs. And then earlier this summer, we were over in Eau Claire, where we announced the company was going to be purchasing 2 properties there, and we'll be visiting them this afternoon. And again, they'll be creating working with the university there, as well as the technical college, and using this as one of their strategies for attracting talent to this region. And there'll be up to 150 high-tech jobs there. Then 3 weeks ago, Foxconn's chairman, Terry Go, was in Madison, where he announced a $100 million gift to the university. And they also signed an MOU outlining several disciplines where the company and UW-Madison will collaborate going forward. And the very next day, Foxconn announced that they were creating a $100 million venture fund, along with Northwestern Mutual, Johnson Controls, and Advocate Aurora. So the transformational nature of Wisconsin is taking hold in Wisconsin, and I am certain there will be more to come. Wherever I go, though, the most asked question I get is, why did Foxconn choose Wisconsin? And the answer is always easy, because the answer is simple. Wisconsin was ready. They identified cost, unnecessary delays. They identified workforce, the importance of workforce. Ellen mentioned that as being three critical components to their, when they were looking at states. But as the company looked at what Wisconsin had to offer, it was more than just these three very important things. What they saw was a strong manufacturing legacy in Wisconsin, a legacy that over the past several decades was created and shaped by thousands of companies and hundreds of thousands of employees whose shoulders we stand on today. Foxconn needed to be confident that if they're going to make these extraordinary commitments to Wisconsin, including a Wisconsin first mentality about seeking out businesses and employees and workforce from the state of Wisconsin, they needed to be confident the companies in our state would deliver on being strong partners for them. Foxconn chose to partner with and invest in Wisconsin because companies like Red Cedar have the world-class employees and world-class capabilities required to meet the needs of a truly world-class company like Foxconn. Congratulations again. Thank you, Pete and the family, and to the Red Cedar team for all you do to help move Wisconsin forward. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce Pete Hayes, the president of Red Cedar Steel.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here with us as we celebrate this day and this momentous occasion. We're thrilled that you're here. I want to make a special welcome to Secretary Ellen Nowak and Secretary Mark Hogan. Thank you for being here and for the award and all you do for our state. I also want to thank several people that are here, people that provide us services. We have Wipfli here, they're our accounting firm. Gallagher's here, their insurance. They're both statewide companies. We also have Bremer Bank here and West Wisconsin Bank, companies that provide us banking services. And I want to make special note to two companies that are represented here, Dawes Rigging and Crane Rental. They are the crane provider and the boom lift provider that on site, they're there today with us. And a few days after that, Urbanski Construction will be there, and Jason's here. So I want to thank you guys for being a part of the team and what is going to make us successful out there on site. So a little bit about us. Red Cedar Steel has been in business here for 41 years. The company was started by my parents, Larry and Carol Hayes, as that was already mentioned. We currently have about 180 employees. We're working out of locations across the country. Specifically, we have locations in Phoenix, Kansas City, Los Angeles, and Denver. But about half of our employees work here in the state of Wisconsin or out of these offices with one we have in Mequon, which is Milwaukee. For those of you who don't know, Mequon's a little subdivision on the north side. And here at our corporate headquarters in Menomonie. We are, as our name implies, a steel erector. That's what we do. We work on commercial, industrial projects really from here all the way to California. And that's what we've been doing all these years. We're very excited to be a part of the Foxconn project, Phase 1 multipurpose building. I want to make a special note that all of our field employees across the country are members of the Union Ironworkers. For Foxconn, they are members of Milwaukee Ironworkers Local Union 8. Today, celebrating with us is Local 8's business manager, Tony Meyerhofer, and their training director, Rich Hansen. Red Cedar has had a long and successful relationship with Ironworkers Local 8, and I want to thank them for all they do in keeping their members highly trained and safe in creating what I believe is a world-class workforce of ironworkers. The Ironworkers Union represents the best in Wisconsin and America's working men and women. We started on site today. At peak, we'll have about 12 ironworkers on site, and we'll be there roughly 1 month. So this is the first building of many, many to go, and we're excited to be there up front. We're excited to be in the first phase of this historic project. We believe Foxconn is transforming the state of Wisconsin by bringing top quality jobs for Wisconsin workers and opportunities for Wisconsin businesses, many of which are represented here today. So again, thank you for coming and helping us celebrate all that Foxconn means to us here at Red Cedar. We're going to have lunch afterwards. We hope you all can stay and partake. Thank you.
Okay, one note I wanted to add that both me and Pete went through the Ironworker Apprenticeship Program. We worked with our belts on. And Larry was an ironworker, card-carrying ironworker. So this company is long in tradition of working hand in hand with our unions. And with that, I'd like to introduce Tony Meyerfer, the local business manager for Local 8.
Morning, everybody. I'd like to thank Secretary Nowak and Secretary Hogan for joining us this morning. And of course, I'd like to say thank you to Pete for having us up here today. It's our honor to be here. As everybody's already pointed out, this is a monumental project to the state of Wisconsin. It's the largest project that I can think of that we've ever seen in the state, and if not the state, in the Midwest of the United States. And the men and women of Ironworkers Local 8 are certainly excited to be part of this. As Pete pointed out, we have had a partnership with Red Cedar for over 41 years. Ironworkers Local 8 has been around for well over 100 years, 123 if I'm not mistaken. And our commitment to the workforce has always been very strong. My number one responsibility is make sure that the men and women, iron workers out there in the field are well represented. We make sure that they're well compensated for a hard day's worth of work, provided that we go to work. We don't necessarily have seniority like other unions. We are all based off of how much we get, how much hours we work. We don't, like I said, we don't have seniority. We don't have some of the other things that a lot of people think unions have. We're different in that sense. What we truly believe is there has to be a partnership between labor and management. What we do is we make sure that our men and women are very well trained to be able to go out and perform the job, and not just perform it, but perform it safely. Everybody wants everybody to come home at the end of the day safe and enjoy their time with their wife and kids, or husband for that matter. But ultimately, we do make sure that we move forward with training, and pausing a little bit there, sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, ultimately, all the way around, we are very excited about this project. And words can't express my thanks to everybody at the state and everybody with Red Cedar. I'm looking forward to getting this project underway and changing the shape of Wisconsin. We'll keep the same shape, but changing what Wisconsin looks like. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, with that, I'd also like to point out Dan Wingle was the estimator for Red Cedar Steel who bid the job. And with all construction, it starts there. We have to estimate it, we have to go get the job. And Ed Schmidt is the project manager out of the Milwaukee office. And we're going to have a tour. If anybody wants to have the tour, it's not really a guided tour, but you're welcome to walk through, visit our facility, check it out. We want everybody to enjoy the food. And mostly we want to thank everybody for coming. And we thank all the officials for their time. And we look forward to having a great job at Foxconn. Thank you.